Good afternoon. We're going to get started. I'd like to thank you all for coming to my talk, and I hope you're having an excellent con. So this is Draw a Bigger Circle, InfoSec Evolves. What you just really need to know about me is that I'm honored and grateful and humbled to get to be here to talk to you all about our InfoSec community. And I also have to say the necessary disclaimer that the views presented here are those of myself and not of my employer. I think that this says pretty much everything that needs to be said. So it's okay. You can all go home now. We're done. No, I'm kidding. But actually, this is a wonderful place to start from. This is an agenda of items I thought we could cover today about our community, our role in it, and how we're going to evolve. So let's get started. Welcome to the island of misfit toys. How many people have seen that Rudolph movie, the one with the funny little characters? Yeah, I know, I watch it every year, right? Well, I kind of thought that's like us, right? InfoSec is more than a career to us. It's our calling. It's our passion. We're here because we really want to be here, even if we hate it some days, even if we hate ourselves some days. We're here for something that drives us to do more, to be more. This community that we like to call home is like an extraordinary incubator of talent where we grow and nurture skills. And we need to keep that happening. We need to keep growing those skills. But in order to be able to do that, we have to bring in more people, people from outside, people who don't necessarily have the same technical skills that we have associated with InfoSec in past. And that's why we need to think outside of the box and literally draw a bigger circle to bring them in. Now, I know that's not as easy as it sounds, but it will be essential to our evolution as a field. Because different is good. Now, many of us here will identify as outcasts, introverts, rebels. I didn't do so well on that one. Empaths. But while we're all different, that's something that we share in a world that prizes conformity. We get to be the square pegs in the round holes. But we are awesome square pegs. So I don't know about you, but I think that for many of us, for myself included, InfoSec was the first place I felt that I really belonged. How many people felt that way when you discovered InfoSec? Yeah. And it's pretty amazing, isn't it? It's empowering. It's that sense of acceptance. To be cliche, completely cliche, it gives you wings to fly. And we are a community filled with ideas, filled with possibilities. So that's what happens when you are encouraged to be all that you can be, whatever you want to be. The potential. When we harvest that potential, we grow forward, we grow further, and that's what we need to continue to do, continuously to do, as a community, as a field. Because technology is moving forward, threats are developing, we can't keep track of everything. And a big responsibility that rests on our shoulders is to welcome those who are now joining us who don't come from the same backgrounds, who have different experiences, because we want to bring them into this circle and grow them alongside us. Because different is good. Imposter syndrome. Well, humility is a good thing until it keeps us from doing good things. And unfortunately, when I first started anyway, I found myself doubting myself. How many of you went through that same, how many of you suffer from imposter syndrome? Yeah, and you doubt yourself on a fairly regular basis? Yeah. Well, when I came here, I secretly wondered if I was going to get called out for not having a computer science degree, for not knowing Linux, for not having used Kali, for never having configured a firewall. But the more that I learned while I was here and discovered things that I really gravitated toward, the more I realized there was no other place I wanted to be. This was my home. This was my calling. This was what I wanted to do. Even if I didn't have all of those other skills, I was still able to do things, help people, and learn. So that pretty much is it in a nutshell. My message then, as somebody who's still working on her technical skills, still trying to validate my place here, is that you are good enough. Keep learning. Keep trying. And most importantly, share what you know. That will be more than enough. And then there's the other side of the coin. Elitism is a problem as well. This is when InfoSec doesn't shine. And it brings us down as a community. Because just because you know something that somebody else doesn't know, that doesn't make you better than them. If you've done something, or if you can do something that somebody else can't, that doesn't give you the right to judge them and hold yourself above them. The same rules apply. People make mistakes. We all do, right? But our ability and our intelligence, that doesn't give us the right to belittle people as stupid users. Rather, it's our responsibility, using our abilities, our knowledge, and our experience to help people, to teach them, to guide them, and to do for them what they cannot do for themselves. It's Twitter. Now, I'll say it, I do love Twitter. But that's because it was the rabbit hole of discovery that I fell down and found my way to InfoSec through. I suspect it may be that way for a lot of other people. Well, to this day, I still find loads of things to learn and lots of people to learn from, people to connect with and talk to. We use Twitter for so many things. We acknowledge each other's accomplishments. Somebody gets their OSCP, it's so validating to be able to tell them, yeah, you did it, and high-five them because you know how damned hard that must have been, right? Or it's when we wish each other luck before job interviews, before the OSCP, before a lot of life momentums. It keeps us from feeling isolated. How many people work remotely? Twitter's kind of a lifeline, isn't it? It's a really good way of getting your head out from the cave and connecting with people who are doing similar things to you, who understand your world, you understand theirs. It's also there for the challenging moments, for when we need to send somebody sympathy and encouragement and get them through some really, really hard times. I have seen the most wonderfully supportive community here. I have seen people stand up and rally around people who have lost so much, who are ready to give up, they find people homes. They get people to conferences. That's uplifting and it's inspiring. And you know what? That's us. That is the heart of InfoSec. That's what we do. It's the place where, for many who are insomniacs, how many people here don't find themselves asleep at 2 or 3 in the morning? It's where we find each other at 3 o'clock. And that's a good thing too, because it's nice not to be all alone all the time. Yeah, it's a resource and a lifeline, and I want us to keep it that way for the people to come. But sometimes, yeah, it's a dumpster fire. So why is it that we feel this need to jump in on top of the pile when there is a situation? Why do we have to hurl 128 character stones at something when it's only going to make it worse? We're so smart. We should know better. However, that old adage about if you don't have something nice to say, then don't say anything nice, don't say anything at all, doesn't really apply, and we have seen enough of the dumpster fires. The problem is, sure, stuff blows over, time heals things, and it blows away. But the truth is, words will hurt you. So, my recommendation, please use yours responsibly. So I'll do a little recap here. Be yourselves. You are excellent as you are. This is not, I know we use the term rock star, but it's not a popularity contest. This is a community, and we all have something to give. We have words, and they wield great power. All right, let's talk about our hacker family. There is tremendous power in collectives. Nature shows this. There are groups of humans, but the fact is, as a group, we have so much more energy, so much more capability. And in InfoSec, we are tested quite regularly by adversity and by adversaries. My research into darknet forums has shown an interesting familial approach that they take with one another online. And it's a matter of the older members keeping the junior members in line, teaching them the ropes, the ways, because it's important for all of the community. There's a reason why there are organized crime families. Now, on the side of good, InfoSec is a place of learning, generosity, monitoring, mentoring. We are collaborators, but we need to become even better collaborators because we have so much more to share going forward. One of our responsibilities, I said it earlier, is to start opening the doors and making welcome the people who are joining us. We're in a time of transition. We're going to go through some growing pains, but evolution is just a part of life. We're a learning community, and that is one more thing we can learn to do together. Now, every family has its issues, and of course, we have ours. There are some hard truths that we have to deal with on a regular basis. There's mental health issues. That's a big one for our community. There's addiction. There's elitism. There's sexism. And these challenges are going to increase as we increase our numbers, as there's some tension in adjusting to new people, new roles and responsibilities. But I believe in us as a community. I've met so many people. I know we have more than what it takes to get through this because we've gotten through other challenges. We've risen above personal challenges. We've learned new skills. We've dealt with really trying workplaces. Bringing some new people in who are going to help us fight the good fight, well, that's a challenge I think we can rise to the occasion of. We can do this together. Yay, cons! Hacker family reunions. Now, y'all are having a good time at Derby? I'm pretty stoked to be here. This is my first Derby, and I have only heard the most amazing things. I used to watch it be live streamed and wished I could be here, so I'm here and I'm really glad. Thanks. I will give a shout out if this is being live streamed to everybody who is watching like I used to watch from wherever it is you are. Thank you. Hope you're here one day too. Yeah, there's, cons aren't for everybody, but I like to think that in the case of many conferences like this one, there is something for everyone. And there definitely is a reason why you can't get to cons like Derby or Shmoo. You can't get a ticket. They're gone like this. Because they're special. There is something truly special about being in a group of people who feel like family, who share your passion, that you can learn from and learn with, where there's an absolute energy, and there is an energy, where you have the opportunity to be yourself with other people who recognize you and they see you. That's what we do. We come here and we recharge. I know, we recharge with no sleep. Questionable alcohol choices, but yes. We get fueled up and it carries us forward. This is a huge role that cons play in our community. And it's a reason why people who help host these put so much of their lives and energy into them as well, because they know that they're going to get more than they're giving, and they really are giving so much. I love to volunteer. I love to get to submit talks because I feel connected into the conference. I meet people, I help people, and it just builds the energy. How many people remember the first conference they went to? What was, shout them out, what was your first conference? Cool. My first one was Circle City about 4 years ago almost. And I went down, I was a total noob, I came down by myself from Canada. I stayed at a hotel that was not the Hacker Hotel. Made my way there, and I met people I don't even speaking to online. The most friendly, amazing people. I literally fell in love at that moment. I wrote a piece about it. I called it Alice's Adventures in Security Wonderland, because literally, I had no idea of what I was walking into. And it was everything I had ever waited to discover, and more. I couldn't wait to bring it back. I was part of a managed services team. They fixed Windows boxes. They were not excited because they were into fixing the boxes. The security stuff was somebody else's problem. I made it my problem. I kept going down that Twitter rabbit hole. I kept looking stuff up. And then I got to tell them I had to take a week off because I was going to go talk at B-Sides Las Vegas at, the same time as Derbycon. This was their look. Oh yeah, they knew what Derbycon was. It has been amazing ever since, and that's why I want to help so many other people with this passion and this dream to do it, to go for it, to have somebody stand beside them and say, why the heck not? You should definitely do this. Because we got enough naysayers who say, nah, I want to be on the cheerleader side. You may not see my pom-poms, but they are there. Now, I'm showing you some lists of information up here. And I'll have a set of resources at the back. But there is an excellent collection of information I'm going to be able to share with you about our community, online resources so that we can all continue to grow and evolve. One of the most important things we do as a community is mentoring. Growing up the next generation, teaching each other, having somebody teach us. It's not classroom, it's not textbook, it's one-on-one, it's experience-based, it's personal. That's why it has the power and the impact. It's like when the master plumber takes the apprentice, sits them down and shows them the way that he has welded pipes for 40 years. Maybe we don't do it with the 40 years, but we do it with that same degree of care and interest. It's also mutually rewarding. I've done mentoring and I have discovered I got as much, if not more, from what my mentee had to share with me and teach me about what they were doing. We give, we get. I thoroughly encourage the opportunity. This is how, again, we take responsibility for our community and we grow forward. And this is also important because as we get new people in who are not familiar, or we get young and inexperienced people in, we need to be able to help them course correct. Not everybody is going to make a good decision. We screw up, everybody screws up. As I was saying earlier about the dark web forums, it was an education for me to read like online screens of information from experienced criminals teaching young ones to expletive up and expletive, you don't do that and this is why. And then for the next 3 screens, in exacting detail, how you would go about doing card fraud, doing credential stuff. I can't say a lot more. And the whole purpose was to safeguard the community because it mattered what happened to one member. If it impacted the rest of them. The success or failure of that member had a direct impact on everybody else, and they were working to make sure that everybody's interests were taken care of, which I found very surprising about criminals, but they work as a family group. We work as a family group too. The more we know about them as our adversary, the better, and sometimes the similarities are striking. Oh, I'm just going to go back to this screen, sorry. This morning in the group panel with Leslie, Dave, John, and Ed, they talked about mentoring. It came up several times. They made reference to this particular project that was started by Keith Hoodlet and Jimmy Vo. The InfoSec mentoring project pairs would-be mentees with mentors. It matches them on skills and interests, and it is a tremendous opportunity. Now everybody knows who Jack Daniel is. Yes. And he has done a tremendous amount for our community. He has a project called The Shoulders of InfoSec that is an acknowledgement of those who've come before us, who have really been trailblazers, contributed to what we get to use now because they had to build it or break it or develop it first. So many of them, I think, would love to be acknowledged in the way that Jack is recommending we do this. And that is by teaching those who are coming up alongside us and after us, carrying forward that responsibility. We can mentor, we can teach, we can encourage, and if we stop doing that with more people coming in, we're going to all suffer. One of the things that I really love about B-Sides Las Vegas is they have the Proving Ground program. This is where they take an inexperienced or first-time speaker and pair them with an experienced speaker. That's their mentor. You have a shorter talk, and you have somebody you meet with regularly. you wind up forming usually fantastic relationships with your mentors. I know I did with mine. There are a couple of guys who like to hack mainframes for, for fun and profit in a good way. I learned so much, not just about making a really good talk, but about that field. And to this day, I'm finding myself learning more, reading more, and that's a benefit to everybody. That's how we encourage our interest and we grow our people. Plus, if you're able to do public speaking, it is a huge career advantage. It's kind of like an essential life skill. Now, I'd love to show you some of our community builders. Of course, there's Dave Kennedy and Jack Daniel, who have given us wonderful conferences. There are others, but time is limited and so are slides. Hacks for Pancakes and Ms. Bat have put together a fantastic series of resume workshops and to help people with their careers. They sit down and they painstakingly and with great care and attention encourage people to build the best resume, to reflect them and their skills and to understand what it is they're applying for. Talk about getting out on the right foot. InfoSister and Rando, they may be hilarious, but they are two of the most sensitive and caring people I have ever met. They have hearts that are huge, and they put their pain forward. They talk about their experiences honestly and directly to help us understand that mental health is everybody's concern because it affects all of us. And it's not something that should have stigma attached to it. It should have support. It should have awareness. And it should have hope. They're doing an amazing thing at Derbycon here, and I would encourage you to go visit their village and take part in it. And learn more about yourself and learn more about what you might be able to do for somebody. Who doesn't know about Swift on security? Well, Swift on Security has a lot to share. They are an online presence that is beloved in our community. That's pretty much all I can say. That's all I need to say. And the same goes for Jason Street. If you are there, he is there with an awkward hug, but also the ability to bring a unique awareness to the world, to the ordinary people, of who hackers are and how we use our forces for good. And he shares some pretty great stories. Well, so welcome to the neighborhood. We've got specialists and generalists. Are you Linux? Are you Windows? Are you both? Are you red? Are you blue? Are you purple? Are you an empath? Are you not? Do you break? Do you make? The fact is, as we grow, it is important for us to have an area that we specialize in because we can't know all of the things. But what's increasingly important is for us to be aware of what others are doing and then how those things mesh together as a whole. It's about how we can work together better. We don't need to be limiting ourselves by defining ourselves. It's about understanding more in terms of capabilities and what we need to ask from other sections, other areas and fields. For example, I work in threat intel. So I would describe it as widening the scope of the lens through which we see things. Why? Because if you can broaden in your feed intake, you're going to get more information to make a more informed decision. And things that were out of scope before because you're looking through just the lens that you do things, that's where you miss things. That's what the attackers are able to take advantage of. Who here understands about silo mentality? Oh my gosh, wow. Yeah, it's a sad reality in a lot of workplaces and also in a lot of lifestyles. But it's something that we have to we have to get around this. We have to find ways to learn more about the people who are adjacent to us and how we utilize each other. Because while we can't, like I said, know all of the things and do all the things, we have a special skill to bring. I like to think of InfoSec in the regard of a potluck, a community potluck, and we each have something to bring to that table. And the end result, well, it's far better than if we just had the one thing. Now we have a whole banquet. That's the power of our community. On our own, we know something. We don't know enough to do it all, but together as a community, we do. A very wise person once said, together we could fly a plane. That would be Leslie Carhart. All right, let's talk about collaboration. It's a very powerful word. It's a game changer when done correctly, and it's what we need to be able to do more of going forward. It's how we're going to leverage the intersections between the different pockets within InfoSec so that we get past silo and into a synthesis of our capabilities and our understandings to level up. From where I work and we look at fraud and we look at international events, Interpol has had tremendous success in being able to collaborate with the financial community, with the business community, so that they've had some pretty major takedowns of organized crime groups. Fin7 had their leader go down, Cobalt, Carbonac have been impacted. A couple huge dark websites got shut down. It's forcing changes within the criminal community, even to a minor extent. But it's how we need to learn to work within our community because we're seeing the success of it outside of our community. And as we do more with AI and big data, which are going to revolutionize things, InfoSec is evolving as a field because we're bringing so much more of that intelligence in. And we're going to be working closer with people who understand data science. They're not programmers in the sense of what we're used to. They're not network and sysadmins. But we need them to be able to help us see so much more of what's coming in. Automation has been such a game changer for everybody. It makes life simpler. We've got enormous amounts of data from the logs. We do need to monitor all the things, but that's an impossible task for people to just stay on top of. We need the machines to do the front work, and then we are able to look at the results and use our talents to the best of our abilities. And again, progress and achieve so much more than we already are. I would love to show you this project. Was anybody at ShmooCon this year? I don't know if you caught it, but Hex Waxwing and Dan Gallagher did a presentation on this project where they were mapping Twitter and social connections on Twitter and interactions on Twitter to get and asking people for their input in terms of what knowledge resources they had. It was fantastic. I'd love to encourage you to just watch the talk. I think it's up on YouTube to see the actual graphs and the connections between people online. But on GitHub, there's this repository of so much information. It is it's not just a newbie's paradise. I think it would be a fantastic resource for everybody. It covers some of the things that I brought here. But you know how we've always wished we had one place that we could go to find something, this is a really great start. So I've included the path at the back on the resource sheet because it's a bit of a gold mine to get in here and just to find the things that you might need to use or want to use or things you never thought you could use. It's fun to know about our hacker history and our culture. We can start there. Just for fun, tell me what you think the two movies are, the two top movies for the DEF CON media list. Yes, that was number one. What do you think number two? Yes, yes, that's right. Yay. All right. Who loves podcasts? Yeah, InfoSec really does love its podcasts. Shout out some for me. What do you listen to? There seems to be a podcast for everybody, which is amazing. It covers the whole gamut. Now, I think a lot of people who keep blogs have a list of the podcasts that they enjoy following, so that's a good resource. But the benefit here with Hexwaxwing's list is that you can see, I've just shown a partial group of them, you can see all the different podcasts. And they are a wonderful resource for learning. I don't know about you, but I find that I've come away with information from them and taken it into work and actually had people turn around and we suddenly started doing something about that. I've listened to things that have turned into talks or written blog posts about something that just fascinated me and dug a little deeper. They provide insight and some humor and awareness because we don't get to hear all of the news all of the time. And they're also, depending on whom you're listening to, can give you understanding of more corporate or risk-related turns with regard to an event. And risk is one of those challenging things for anybody in security because that's when we have to go and talk to the guys in the suits in the C-suite in the language that they best understand. I work with a financial institution. Risk is probably used in every single sentence. But with regard to podcasts, I like to think of them as you've picked your own class that you want to go to. And it's with a teacher that you actually like because you show up for class every week when it's on. And that's a huge benefit. The other wonderful thing about podcasts is that they unify our community through letting us know about events, letting us know about causes and things we can contribute to. And honestly, hackers are among the most generous people I know. So they are a place to get key information on where you can make donations or how you can attend an event, especially fledgling events. I worked with the Diana Initiative, so I'd really like to take, thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the podcasts who gave us a signal boost. These are a few of my favorites. And if you are listening and you like a show, I'd love to encourage you to let the people who are behind the mics know that you enjoyed it, because they have very big hearts and they'll just keep doing a good job. I hope we've heard this a lot, but it's true. We are a community of learning. We are lifelong learners. We are passionate learners. We're determined and dedicated. This is one of the calling cards of InfoSec. But we're also, amazingly, a community of teachers and mentors. We have authors and journalists to learn with. It's our passion. Our passion fuels our drive to learn. And that's what we need. When people join us from other backgrounds, if they have that same passion to learn as we do, we can teach them. You can teach skills, but you cannot teach aptitude. You cannot teach interest and drive and passion. And that's what sets us apart from pretty much everybody else. And that is really a unique element, a common element throughout our community. Again, in the panel discussion, they were talking about the importance of mentoring and the need for mentees to demonstrate this passion. Like John Stranded said, I need to see from you your commitment. Show me what you have learned already so that I know if I spend the time with you, you're going to be willing to put the effort in. Because mentoring is a two-way street. And it means that somebody who, say, has a political science degree could learn some network basics, could learn about vulnerabilities maybe and exploits, and then be able to explain how nation-state attackers commandeered and enslaved 500,000 very vulnerable home routers and made them achieve persistence. Wow. That is so exciting. I'm going to do a talk on that. So here is a great list of resources. And something that I love, that we all love, is learning by playing. It is a terrific way to continue to up your skills. And every year, Ed Skoutis and his band of elves put together a very merry CTF for Christmas. Now this year, they have something called KringleCon that you can sign up for. It is a great opportunity to learn and to encourage maybe some younger people you know, introduce them to the whole concept of CTF. Online learning resources, plenty of them. We have Hack 5. I don't know if you know her, Sherazad. She's on Twitter, but she's, oh my God, she's amazing and somebody worth following. Would you like to learn about reversing malware? Well, Malware Unicorn has a terrific online course to follow. Malware Tech is offering something at a very basic level to help you understand. If you're interested in pen testing, or you want to learn more about ARM, Blackroom Sec and Azaria have put up amazing, very readable blogs. Now, who doesn't have a VM spun up? We love our virtual machines, and they are perfect sandboxes to learn and play in. Here's a list of stuff that you can load it up with. And that up there is actually a course syllabus with materials from Tufts, put online from Ming Chow, who's been developing a cybersecurity program at Tufts that really is built to teach cybersecurity professionals for the future. There's an amazing amount of resources, but we need more. And I will encourage any of you, you're good enough, you've got lots to share, you could put up a blog if you want to. It will matter, because sharing is caring. Now, there was a really interesting thread going through Twitter this past March about how people found their way to InfoSec. Did anybody get a chance to see that? There's some extraordinary journeys. Yeah, your weird path to InfoSec. Because so many of us didn't come directly, and so many more people who are joining us didn't come directly. This is going to be new DNA to our security culture. It's an adjustment, it's an evolution, but it's going to be for the better. InfoSec is really a synthesis of our experiences and our understandings. As I said before, we are greater than the sum of our parts. So what can we learn from unconventional backgrounds? How can we apply sociology, philosophy, psychology, anthropology? What can they do to help us with our biggest challenge, securing the human? Well, nobody said it was going to be easy, but then nothing worth having ever is. So, experience, passion, and soft skills. These can help us go further. A word about diversity, because we need to be open to all the people to come in. So I told you that I worked with the Diana Initiative. Diversity, we don't have to make a big deal about it. We just need to draw a bigger circle, listen to different views, ask people what their thoughts are. It's a growth experience for everybody. It isn't about focusing on the negative and what we're not doing. If we can instead flip that over, look at what we are doing and say, okay, what can we do in addition to this? That makes it easier, makes it better for everybody. This was the conference that I'm proud to be a part of and would invite you all to participate in. Making friends, great talks, picking locks, learning to solder in a smaller venue. And then you grow from there. Because our diversity is our strength. It's like when you take metals and you make an amalgam. And age doesn't have to be a limiter either. I will say that from experience. Let's talk about the value of experience and wisdom and people who've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, so that I can save you from having to do that. It's not stopping me. I am having the best time, and I just want to do more, and I am so committed to doing more. But I have patience that I didn't have, and I have understanding that I didn't have from 30 years ago that I can bring here now. We have great people to join us who can bring that wisdom of the elders and help us all benefit. So yes, we need to draw a bigger circle to bring more people in and welcome them, because we are an amazing community. We have so much to offer, but there are so many people who want to come in who have something to offer us all, to evolve, to meet the changes ahead for us. We need to help those people find their way here. We need to build each other up. We need to remember mental health affects us all. Let's help those who are helping others and celebrate the community that brings us together. Believe in yourselves. I do. Teach and learn. Remember, diversity is strength. Mental health is not a stigma, and community matters. Our possibilities are infinite, because together we could fly a plane. Thank you all very, very much. As promised, the resources.